You tell the angels in heaven you never seen evil so singularly personified as you did in the face of the man who killed you.
But you know and I know that you're only half the man that I am. And I have half the brain that you do.
Errol Flynn was one of the premier leading men in American cinema throughout the 1930s and 40s. Born in 1909 in Australia, Errol was a world traveler from an early age, and served as a war correspondent during the Spanish Civil War. Mr. Flynn began his acting career training with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and became an overnight sensation when he made his film debut in 1935's Captain Blood. But it was his portrayal of Robin Hood in The Adventures of Robin Hood that solidified his position in Hollywood's elite, a status he was able to maintain for more than 20 years.
Now, this forest is wide. It can shelter and clothe and feed a band of good determined men, good swordsmen, good archers, good fighters. Men, if you're willing to fight for our people, I want you. Are you with me?
For all of his success as a leading man, Errol is remembered less for his work and more for his notorious reputation as a hard-drinking womanizer with a short fuse and a tendency towards violence. Errol's legacy as one of Hollywood's leading douchebags was further fueled by rumors that he was a Nazi sympathizer, and possibly even a spy. While none of these claims have ever been proven, these accusations have left their mark. The lead villain, Neville Sinclair, in Disney's 1991 classic The Rocketeer, was a direct characterization of this Hollywood heartthrob. Errol is once quoted saying, "I like my whiskey old, and my women young." This tendency towards the younger female populace would cause a great deal of turmoil in Mr. Flynn's life in November of 1942, when he was charged with 2 counts of statutory rape. Peggy Satterley and Betty Hansen, both 17, accused Errol of encouraging them to become severely intoxicated, and then while they were incapacitated, forcefully had sexual intercourse with them on several occasions. Errol had been married once, which had ended in divorce, largely due to his infidelities, which were closely followed by the media. It was only by his star power that Errol continued with his illicit antics without damaging his career as Hollywood's biggest moneymaker. No, Errol's career had not been completely derailed by the negative press, though studio executives were starting to become wary. Innocence was not a role Errol Flynn was ever able to pull off.
Can you think of one good reason why I should believe you?
No. The man who was famous for playing a legendary outlaw hired one of the most successful and expensive lawyers, Mr. Jerry Geisler. Mr. Geisler's defense took a simple approach, calling into question the moral foundation of the plaintiffs and the intentions of their accusations. These tactics were just as successful then as they are today, and Errol was found not guilty on both counts. On an interesting side note, during the case, Mr. Flynn would frequent the court snack bar on a regular basis. As everyone was about to learn, the actor's devotion to the establishment had nothing to do with the food, but rather with flirting with the 18-year-old attendant, Miss Nora Eddington. The problem was she was also the daughter of Captain Jack Eddington of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. The issue came to a head when Ms. Eddington became pregnant with Errol's child. While Errol may have been a drunken wreck, he was also a survivor who knew that when Captain Eddington insisted that Errol make an honest woman of his daughter, that it was a wise decision to take his advice. The marriage would last until 1949, and Nora would go on to spend a great deal of time attempting to rehab her former husband's public image, publishing a book titled Errol Flynn, The Untold Story in 1969. Errol would have a lasting effect on our culture outside of movies. Apparently the term "in like Flynn" was a none too subtle reference to the incident, and would be the inspiration for the title of the classic James Bond parody In Like Flint, with James Colburn playing the role of Derek Flint. Errol would meet his end in October of 1959 at the ripe old age of 50. The cause of death was determined to be a fatty degeneration of the liver, cirrhosis of the liver, and diverticulitis of the colon, which according to the Surgeon General can result from excessive alcohol use and alleged underage sex.
And I believe that. You believe it too.